What's going on, everyone? Cubeologist here with another episode of Puzzle Spotlight. You guys know that's the weekly series where I show you puzzles you probably don't care about and solves that are way too long. So let's get into this today. As you can see, we are talking about the Fisher Cube. Now, if you want to talk about classic designs or classic puzzle modifications, this is definitely on the top of the list. Tony Fisher is basically a pillar in the community. He's been modifying puzzles since like 1985. I think that's when he did this, and he might have actually created the Siamese Cube a little bit earlier, but I don't have one of those, and if I did, that would be a puzzle for another day. But let's talk about this puzzle for now. So if you're not familiar with this, let me just tell you first off how it's made. This is a 3x3 modification. So it's basically made out of this. You can see that it's just rotated 45 degrees, and you get from this to this. So the easiest way to think about making one of these is you take a 3x3, then you cut all the way down the cube on the corners, cutting the corner in half diagonally on all four corners. Do that, and then you take the pieces that you get and you glue them onto the edge, center edge, right in the middle of the puzzle, respectively, and then that gives you a shape that's also a square, but it solves very differently. So it's easy to see how one of these is transformed into the other, and it's actually really cool. The only other way you can do it is by not transferring these corners, but by building them up with epoxy sculpt, which I think is probably a better way, but that's up to debate, and I don't think it matters either way if you're a good puzzle modifier. And just as a side note, and kind of a shameless plug, I will tell you that I have the world's smallest Fisher Cube, to my knowledge. It might have been beaten by now, but I think this is still the world's smallest Fisher Cube. It was made from a Maru Nano Cube, one of these guys, and it functions pretty well. I gotta say, it's not the best turning, but everything's functional, and it's not really fun to solve, just because it's kind of locky. You can't be too precise with all the cuts at this size. But yeah, it's really cool, and I'm really happy to have it. But until fairly recently, if you wanted one of these guys, you had to make it yourself, but now there are companies making them, and they're actually making them really well. So this one's by YJ, and it corner cuts forward and reverse. Maybe not reverse. Yeah, they're a little bit. And it's actually prompted people to start speed solving it, and that makes me think it'd be really cool to add something like this to the WCA in the future. But there are a few differences whenever you solve this puzzle that you don't have with the 3x3. What? The first two layers are done, but you've got only one edge misoriented. So that's called parity on the Fisher Cube, and what causes that is one of these edges is flipped. See, because it wouldn't matter, right? So that is what causes the parity, and all you have to do is basically take this out right there, and then put it back in, and then that gets your cube to a solvable state. But that's basically all of the information I have about the Fisher Cube. Super great puzzle. People are getting really fast, like 15 seconds. Like I said, Lucas Etter's even doing it. He's just got so much spare time, apparently, from breaking world records that he can learn puzzles that don't even matter. But I really like this puzzle, and I really enjoy solving it. So go check it out. Go pick you one up. It's a blast. Even make one. Buy some epoxy sculpt and make one out of a 3x3, because it's a really good beginner modification. I started with it and it was horrible, but it was fun. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not going to show a solve because I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter, but if you want to see a tutorial on how to solve this, it's fairly easy, and you should probably just look one up because there's already a few out there. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this third episode of Puzzle Spotlight. I'm really enjoying this series, and I've got a lot more puzzles that I want to talk about. So give this a thumbs up if you did like it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. I don't care. You'll hear from me later. See you guys. May You from Kong's Design, because I got it and I was testing it out, and I was a little bit confused because it felt a lot like the old batch. So let's take a look at these. We're going to get inside and compare the pieces, and then hopefully we'll come to some conclusion as to what they've changed and whether or not it was worth it, because honestly, I feel like I've been scammed. I feel like it's the exact same puzzle.